Hello. This is in response to Scott Ray's book on Introduction to Ethics for a Moody class that I'm taking. And in his first chapter, he goes over and asks a very important question. And his question specifically is this: how would you respond to the question, why be moral? And his view is that either you think morality is something that's very important or you don't. If you do think morality is something important, as Scott is going through, then you're going to read his book. I would say morality is extremely important, whether you have his book or you don't have his book. His book is going to be very challenging. I'm sure I'm going to have some quite very different views than maybe other people that are going to be in the class, because I come from an older generation and I have my certain views that are on there, but they're all always available for update. But the one thing for regards to morality is it's defining our conduct, our behavior, the way that we should do life. And the Bible is supremely appointed to tell us how to do life. In my last internship, the way that I was looking to make sure that particularly those that were in addictive behaviors, and even for all Christians, on how one should do life rightly, is to take a look at how God says we're supposed to do life rightly. Since God is the maker of all mankind, He's the final authority. That may not be and is not the view of the general secular society this day, but it is my view. And it actually is God's view, because we can go through and we can read, even in the nature where you look at the beginning of Genesis, where God said, don't do this. Here's something we're not supposed to do. Here's how we're supposed to not act. And Adam didn't do that right. Matter of fact, he kind of went a little farther along and said, God, you're the responsible person for my problems. And so our actions and our way we view actions are entirely going to be based on what is our framework and our view with how the world itself works. And this world is passing, but the world that God describes in the Bible is fixed for eternity. So my view is we really need to be looking at our conduct as the Bible itself explains how we are supposed to live. And it can be a very complex problem, and it becomes complex because we as human beings decide to live the life we want to live. Essentially, we place ourselves as our own God and therefore live our own way. And this leads to real chaos. And we can just look at our own society this day, and how it is that such problems are going on in our lives this day. And the questions that come out, even that we're going to be discussing in this class, are going to be related to how a lot of current society sees these questions and how current society sees them, and in Scott Ray's position of how we should look at them biblically. And so it'll be interesting on how to go to those. I really am quite fixed on this. It is probably going to be more firmly fixed on the Bible than anything else. But morality really is how we are supposed to conduct our lives. And it's our lives in all ways. How we're supposed to relate to our spouse, how we're supposed to relate to God, how we're supposed to relate to our kids, how we're supposed to view the events of the world in this day, and how important even they are. It's extremely important to see these things in a proper biblical and moral way so that we might live rightly.